The World Bank has called on the Albanian government to fight corruption, declaring it a barrier to economic growth, with World Bank Director for Albania saying that to achieve this, appropriate mechanisms must be established. Talant Bala urges the prosecution not to drag the investigation of the Gjisiela file. The only one who played the role in the opposition was Veliaj, who accused the Minister Ahmetaj for not appearing at an interpellation. The Mayor of Tirana has inaugurated another investment at the new bazaar after storage facilities were added that, according to Veliaj, allow for better organisation. Good evening, it's 6 o'clock on Thursday, the 4th of October 2018. Welcome to the English edition of Aura News. My name is Alexandra and I'm here to bring you the day's top stories from across the country translated into English. Despite having positively reviewed the economic growth for the country, the World Bank has raised serious concerns regarding corruption in Albania. During the presentation of the report for the Balkans, the World Bank Director for Albania, Salim, said that this problem should be resolved with transparency and with the adoption of appropriate laws. It is very important that, when investments become essentially public procurement, transparency in allowing competition and a focus on existing laws and taxes is clear to investors. Of course, you have to reduce corruption because you see that if corruption increases, it will slam the brakes on the private sector investment. The ways to address this are, again, the increase of transparency and laws that increase investor confidence in the system. For example, the Eurobond currently shows the confidence of markets, and this is a very good step, but it is not just Eurobond. There are many partners working with the government for reforms, seeing encouraging progress and focusing on areas that are yet to be reformed, said Salim. The World Bank economist for our country urged more care to be taken for the fiscal consolidation and public spending. According to Hilda Shiaku, PPPs are a negative factor in this regard, while saying that Albania is offering more unsolicited bids. The World Bank revised the forecast of the performance of the Albanian economy by bringing the figure up to 4%, up by 0.4%. But in the next 2 years, the expectations for the Albanian economy are lower, respectively 3.6% in 2019 and 3.5% for 2020. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Edi Rama was happy with the report, adding that this is indicated by the increase in employment. The prosecution already has 3 files to investigate as a result of the denunciation of violence by 25-year-old Gjisiela Maloku. After the charge that Talant Bala filed for slander against the chair of the DP, Lulzim Basha, the latter has responded by denouncing Prime Minister Edi Rama. According to the Democratic Party Deputy Chair, Emiliano Nuhu has been threatened with his life after demanding attention to an investigation into the son of Socialist MP Rahman Raya. On his part, the chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration Parliamentary Group, Petrit Vasili, has requested that Prime Minister Edi Rama give his testimony. Rama has responded to the 2 opposition representatives, ironically, calling them 2 half-Turkeys who have filed for the prosecution on behalf of the hero of the film Babale 2. He even adds that he is willing to be investigated and is waiting patiently for the prosecution to put an end to this. On the other hand, the Prime Minister stresses that work continues to create an anti-slander package. In response to opposition charges in regards to the Gjisiela case, the Socialist Party Parliamentary Group Chair, Talant Bala, chose the podium of the Assembly to appeal to the prosecution not to make bargains over the issue. A few days ago, the court ruled on the security measure of imprisonment for the son of the Socialist MP, Rahman Raya, accused of violating Gjisiela Maloku. The decision was made despite the fact that the latter withdrew the allegations, stating that she made the accusation simply because of jealousy. Yet again, the opposition did not appear for today's parliamentary session, but unlike other weeks, the Democratic Party and its allies did not hold a parallel meeting either. This was due to the absence of the Democratic Party leader, Lulzim Basha, who is currently abroad. The Socialist Party MP, Rahman Raya, who is accused of threatening a former police officer in defence of his son, also did not attend the session. 3 draft decisions focusing on budget increases and staff for justice bodies were approved with 72 votes. Minister of Finance, Arben Ahmetaj, was reprimanded by Socialist MP, Veliaj, who expressed his frustration that Ahmetaj had not been in attendance for for a period of 5 weeks, despite being called for questioning over the law on sport. It was the Speaker of the Assembly, Ruchi, who justified that the minister was abroad for the purpose of the Eurobond. In addition to the lack of political rhetoric in Parliament, the boycott of opposition continues to block the draft law on the status of judges and prosecutors and the law on the road code. Foreign Minister Ditmir Bushati called it unwise for he and the President to express disagreements with each other about the negotiations with Greece to the media. This was in reference to the statements made by the head of state during an interview yesterday with radio station Voice of America. Bushati said different views should be addressed institutionally. We are in a process of negotiating a broad package addressing many issues with Greece, including issues related to the restriction of maritime areas. I believe the history of this issue is well known to the public. Therefore, different views have full institutional freedom to deal only institutionally and, at any moment, with other information channels. I am surprised that the President of the Republic at this point has changed his position, but at the end of the day, who am I to judge the leader of the state when I am just a minister, said Ditmir Bushati. President Mehta's statement that the agreement with Greece should be adopted when we have a functioning constitutional court, Bushati responded that negotiations are underway and we cannot talk about an agreement concluded. In the case at hand, the negotiations have not ended, and until the negotiations are completed, we consider ourselves part of a team, including the President of the Republic. We have been charged with this duty by the Constitution and the law on the conclusion of international agreements, said Ditmir Bushati. During the joint press conference, Austria's Minister for European Affairs, Karin Kneißl, spoke about the negotiations between Kosovo and Serbia, saying that any ideas for changing borders should be carefully watched. Kneißl also said Austria supports Albania's demand to head the OSCE. Prime Minister Edi Rama admits that many directors and deputy directors of schools are not the best people for the job. This morning, during the inauguration ceremony of the School of Directors of Pre-University Education Institutions, Rama said, "We have many directors and deputy directors who are not capable of doing their jobs. The School of Directors will not be just an institution. It will be a place where the fund has provided the best international expertise, methodologies and best practices of school directors training, because what we are doing today, the world did a long time ago." Education Minister Lindita Nicola stated that so far there were no standards of measurement for teacher performance. In our education system, there is only one document of the standards of the director who aims to evaluate how the employees of the school perform. In fact, it has been determined that it does not define either the methodology nor the means necessary to enable us to assess and how the directors are performing, said Lindita Nicola. The School of Directors is aimed at the professional development of directors, deputy directors and those aspiring to this position through the preparatory training process, as well as certification to exercise in this function. 2 memorandums were also signed for the Education Services Centre and the Clean Score project. This institution provides training for about 2,200 directors and deputy directors of educational institutions. Investments in the new bazaar in the capital have been added to ensure the preservation of products sold. Mayor of Tirana Municipality, Veliaj, accompanied by the head of the Albanian American Development Fund Board Chair, Michael Granov, said that now merchants will be offered the right logistics to pursue their activities. There has always been a dilemma about how to do logistical shopping with morning supplies and pickups in the afternoon. So we have opened an extra space for storing goods. To maintain the authenticity of a pedestrian zone without cars or motorbikes, we needed a space to store goods which are to be traded the next day, and as such eliminate even the supply vehicles. So I believe that everyone who has a space to sell or performs a service here will have the opportunity, at a very modest cost, to obtain a storage space, said Veliaj. Mayor Veliaj also raised the possibility of connecting Skanderberg Square with the new bazaar. We are looking at how we can connect 2 excellent spaces such as Skanderberg Square and the new bazaar. Probably we will come to a successful conclusion by creating a connecting bridge so that the attractive areas of Tirana, such as the square and bazaar, can be connected to each other with the same quality, explained Veliaj. The Albanian American Development Fund Board Chairman, Michael Granov, said the AADF and the Municipality of Tirana share the common ambition to push forward projects and express the conviction that this cooperation will continue. The revitalised new bazaar resumed its work in March 2017 and is currently home to around 300 businesses. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join me again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.